This is Detective Batman 649, part 3 of this story arc, the final part of it. And we have another excellent cover by Wagner. All 3 parts have had some brilliant covers of Batman and Robert. Poster covers in essence, but bloody good poster covers at that. Our first page is a splash image showing our heroes, Batman, Robert and Fender. Fender being the new heroine that this story has been cluing us in on. Pun there, that is a proper pun. None of this global warming shite. Batman, he tells Fender that she isn't going with them to stop the ice. She is too emotionally invested in it, since the main perpetrator is her dad. And a prime factoid from this page that might be forgotten about is that Fender, Stephen Brown, she says that she is older than Robert. I think they might forget that. Here we see that robbery in process, and God, it's like Eat, innit? The Val Kilmer film, Eat. So, Stephen, since she isn't allowed to go along with the boys, she supplies them with all the information that she has learned of her dad's plan. And now we get to see her dad dressed as Robin Hood, which also makes him look like Silver Age era. Her dad is the villain Clueman. I spoke of him a bit in the first part, but we are going to cover him more in depth this time around. Clueman first appeared in issue 351 of either Batman or Detective Batman. I just remember the number. I think Detective Batman, it would have been late 60s, early 70s. Batman 351 would have been in the 80s. Yeah, it will have been Detective Batman 351. Clueman is an uninspired Riddler photocopy. That he never became a better known Batman villain isn't a surprise. He would leave clues after committing a crime, clues for Batman and Robert, taunting them, but also sowing the seeds of his own defeat. In his first story, he was trying to learn Batman's secret identity. In the late 80s, he was one of the Injustice League, a villain team that was mined for comedy about them all being doofus, silly Billy losers. They would appear countless times in the Justice League International books, and Clueman was usually shown to be the most intelligent of the squad. He was often the sensible or rational one. He was a straight man, kind of. And then this story came along, and it presented Clueman in a contrary light to his most recent appearances. It is a good story here, but I don't know. On one hand, I don't like a villain being made into a joke, but I also don't like that being ignored. It only just works with Clueman, by the skin of the teeth, because Clueman had been the mostly serious one in Justice League International. And you know, Clueman is a bit meh as an idea, but there is sometimes in this story, in the New 52, and even in his role in Justice League International, there is always this undercurrent idea that Clueman is actually competent. He could, and he can, be the big brain mastermind and get away with it by virtue of everyone expecting the big bad to not be him, because on the surface he does seem like a lesser villain. If the writer of this story, Chuck Dickens, if he actually had used that as the character's motivation for being with the Injustice League team, that could really resolve any problem. Say that he was with them so that his opponents wouldn't get the clue that he was a far more intelligent and methodical villain than they thought. Another clue pun there. We just keep at it with the two extremes of Clueman after this, though. Kevin Griffin will keep coming back to him and the Injustice League, which usually reverts Clueman to being a comedy character. After this, I know he teams up with Riddler at one point, but he also has a feud with Riddler, maybe in another story. He appears a lot in Robert's solo series. He appears a lot in that as a villain, and his attempts at crime are typically foiled again by his daughter. In 2001, he is killed in Kevin Griffin's Suicide Squad. Again though, Kevin Griffin in that one shows that Clueman is the only member of the Injustice League worth a damn. He is the only one on the team that is capable. Clueman, he comes back super serious after his daughter is murdered a few years later. War Games. We won't talk about that farce. Then in the New 52, they retold the story where you're looking at and dragged it out for 52 issues. Clueman is one of the arch villains of the Batman Eternal series, but he is also never convincing as the main villain. Spoilers for you there. They do in on that as his entire story and motivation, though. The idea that nobody would buy him as the main villain, and that is why he is able to defeat Batman. But then, it does turn out he was not the main villain anyway. What happens here is Batman and Robert get there to stop Clueman's Robin Hood themed robbery. This goes on for quite a while. The two of them fighting the goons. And the big twist here is Clueman's daring getaway. They were expecting a getaway driver, and he is getting away by air. We get to the inevitable arrival of Fender. She wants to even the score with her dad. Clueman doesn't know that this is his daughter, and he takes her hostage. One thing I want to quickly say is DC began reprinting the Robert solo comics. they gave up after 5 volumes because it is DC after all. It pissed me the fuck off that this 3-parter was not included. They included loads of Detective Batman and Batman issues by the Doctor from Jurassic Park, and some of them aren't that important beyond being early appearances of this Robert. This, however, is incredibly important. It gives us a major supporting character for Robert's solo series, Stephen Brown. It is written by the writer of that series. It is drawn by the artist who drew Robert's first miniseries. This is very relevant to Robert, and it wasn't included. Now, what I love about this story is it absolutely goes for the sensible resolution. The resolution that, in my mind, I go, well, just do this and it'll change the game. Batman tells Clueman that his hostage is his daughter. Bang, boom, there we go. That is how we do it. This surprises Clueman, and we don't say what he would have done after learning that because Stephen beats him up. I wish we hadn't spent as much time on Batman and Robert fighting henchmen, because there is some conflict here on this page that is given 2 panels. Batman telling Stephen that revenge will destroy her life more than her dad ever did. Really like this story though. One of my favourite Batman stories that I have, but I don't have many Batman stories. Does anyone know where Stephen Brown appears next after this? I am going to predict it will be in Showcase, DC Showcase 93 or 94 or 95, and then obviously she will appear in Robert after that. Maybe she is in some more Batman stories before, I don't know. I also haven't a clue what I will rate this comic.